My name is Julie Cabrera. I live in Richmond, California. I am 26 years old and I was born with albinism. Albinism is a genetic eye condition that affects pigmentation in the skin, hair, and eyes, and usually it makes me very sensitive to extreme light. I get burned very easily in the sun, and it's usually partnered with some degree of visual impairment. So currently I am legally blind. So before I began going to Enchanted Hills Camp, I had just moved from a school district that had never let me know that I was visually impaired. I had never met any other students who were blind or visually impaired. And barely getting to the point where I was learning to accept my identity as somebody with low vision, it felt very lonely. I was in middle school at the time, and it was difficult to really make friends, to feel like I belonged somewhere, and to feel like I could accept myself as a blind person. And I was well on my way to doing everything in my power to avoid that fact. It's funny because I remember vividly the first day I went to camp. I remember leaving home, feeling very nervous, feeling very alone again, because I was on a big bus with a bunch of kids who, they all seemed very happy and very excited to be going to this camp. But I really had no idea what to expect. I also remember it being very cloudy and gray when we left, and slowly we're going through all these cities and going through fields of grass and going through mountains and more green than I'd ever seen in my life. And everyone's happy and laughing, and people were talking to me as if they'd known me for a long time, just as a friend, and it's immediately so comforting to feel welcome somewhere. And that's nothing compared to getting off the bus and just having a whole hailstorm of hello, how are you, welcome. It was just such a wonderful, warm feeling, and that feeling just kept growing as I spent time at camp. I never felt while I was there that I was left out of something, that I was missing out on something, because everyone was inviting you to, to open up and to really let in the experience of camp. And it was such a wonderful time. And it's one of those feelings that just kept growing exponentially, because even throughout the year, once camp ended, I was sad, but literally the day afterwards, I was planning out my trip to camp for next year, talking to friends, and really letting that feeling of happiness settle, even during school years where maybe that feeling of welcome and happiness wasn't as abundant outside of camp. Enchanted Hills has been the greater part of the reason why I've chosen the career path I've chosen. I plan to enter my graduate studies to become a teacher for the visually impaired. I was inspired by my own teacher for the visually impaired, who was actually the one to send me to camp to help find somebody to fund my stay there, to encourage me and help me along through application and through preparing myself for going, and really giving me the confidence to be able to venture out on my own, even if it was just for a week during the summer. And then going to camp and meeting all these different students with different experiences, with different hobbies and motivations and personalities. It was just wonderful. And especially growing up, leaving camp as a camper and coming back as a counselor and working with these students, their families, with adults, seeing their development at all stages and how important it is to have a mentor that is knowledgeable and approachable was very important, and the big driving force behind what I want to do as my career. I think one thing I'd like to see in the future, and I see it more and more, is just, first of all, continuing support, for the families, whether it be through family camps or kind of being able to reach out to the parents and professionals that work with these students. That way, word of these camps can spread more through the parents and professionals who work alongside the students who take advantage of this resource. Because that's really important. That's mainly the goal, is to get visually impaired students working with visually impaired students and making the community bigger, so that we can have a bigger connecting force between camps and make sure that they have, lasting bonds and friendships and relationships that really hold out against anything, outside of camp. I really want to say that Enchanted Hills and any camp who really opens up the floor for a student to be able to explore in ways that they've never been able to outside of their home environment, it is a really successful tool, because even if it's just the kid learning to pour his own water for the first time, or she's learning to put on her shoes for the first time, that is laying the groundwork, that is planting the seeds for some amazing growth. And maybe counselors or people who work with these students for a week or two don't really see it, but having experienced it and having seen it myself, it is amazing just how much a student can grow with that kind of love and support.